On this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone, we're going to talk about another Wednesday Night War. This time for AEW, we're getting close to the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. NXT are still continuing with their interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and the rivalries has been going on for both sides. So, let's get ready to watch another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. I am your host, J-Rod here. So we're here to talk about all things professional wrestling from promotions such as AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, NWA, and many others, including those I hardly talk about or ones I'm going to talk about in the near future. So let's talk about this week's Wednesday Night War. So there has been, as you know, the dip of the viewerships that's been going, but basically we have been seeing AEW still at the top as always. There were a couple occasions where they lost 2 weeks in a row in the hands of NXT, but that was okay. I always did believe that they were going to bounce back. But right now, the views for this week are very interesting. So the winner of this week, third week in a row by AEW, they got about 701,000 views. That pretty much was better than the last time. Somehow the views went up 7%, and they received the rate of 0.26, which is not bad. As for NXT, they received 592,000 views, which dipped down a bit, 2% from their previous week. So they received the rate of 0.13. So in a way, I'm not gonna say okay, AEW is in the win, but they have proven time and time again that they are meant to stay here. For many WWE fans are saying, AEW is a bunch of garbage. They're nothing like WWE. That may be true, but they always put on a good show. So both sides always put on a good show. We cannot deny that because that's always been what the wrestling world needs. And people say AEW is going to fold. It hasn't. Even though they got the 3-year section, reports are coming in from Wrestle Talk that it turns out that WWE are no longer worried about AEW anymore, maybe because they're not worried about if wrestlers they release go into AEW. I think maybe they're starting to pick up the real truth. Maybe they're now paying attention. As I said it before, they're not paying attention what was going on in-house. They're mostly paying attention what AEW is doing. And I've always said WWE needs to worry about what's going on. Like, what are you throwing wrong? What storylines are not working? What matches were not good for fans that they wanted to see? That's always been the issue with WWE. I hope they wake up and smell the roses, seeing, okay, this is what we did wrong. I mean, who could forget about that Braun Strowman's and Roman Reigns match that Brock Lesnar interviewed, and we hear that this is bullshit, and then the AEW chant. So that's one of the things that WWE are not paying attention. The fans are always right. In this case, the fans always win from both sides. Doesn't matter. I watch both AEW and NXT. I enjoy them both. But right now, let's talk about this week's winners. First, AEW Dynamite. So we're getting close right now to Double or Nothing, the next pay-per-view, which is right now we're going to celebrate 1 year of the Double or Nothing, which was the very first pay-per-view that AEW has ever produced, and it was the first show they done before Dynamite. So it's going to be epic for everyone. So it starts out with the Inner Circle arriving, claiming they got a surprise for the Elite because right now they booked themselves in a Stampede match, which means they're going to use the giant TIAA stadium, which is the same stadium where the Jaguars play. Since right now football season's over, they're going to set up a ring right in the middle of the 50-yard dash. And of course, they're trying to prove that they are truly the dominant team, that they're going to wipe them out once and for all, proving that they're the most dominant force and there's nothing they can do to stop them. But don't forget, in that very same night and evening, Sammy was booked to face against Matt Hardy, a man that ran him over with a car, with a golf cart. Who could forget that? That was the epic moment I like. All right, so first things first, it was scheduled to have a match between Jon Moxley and Dark Order member 10. Now, Brody Lee, as you know, he took the AEW title, proclaiming himself to be the AEW World title. But in reality, Jon Moxley is still the champion. Regardless, he doesn't have the belt. So he gave the orders to 10 to not only beat him, or forget about beating him, just destroy him, that type of thing. But Moxley, he is not a happy camper. He's been pissed off knowing that his property was stolen. Now, he actually did beat. This one was a brutal match between Moxley and 10, who is a loyal, the chosen one for Brody Lee. Basically, he was the guy who will do anything for his boss. So that turned out amazingly, the story. I like how he's the guy who is giving the orders and 10 is his favorite. As soon as the match was going great, like, they were like throwing each other, punch after punch, tossing each other outside the ring, throwing each other through the bike rail, the stairways, everything. But as soon as Moxley beat 10, he demanded Brody Lee to show up with his time to return his property. But he did say that he made it personal, that he doesn't need to do, but he did state that he's willing to sacrifice. Meaning, he doesn't care if Moxley breaks 10's arm. He has his arm right in the chair, and he slammed it doing the double concerto. Brody leaves, 10 is still left there, and Moxley just whapa, right into 10's arm. So basically, he just left his loyal servant right there. And Moxley, well, you know him, he's not happy. So he wants his piece of property. So we're going to see that match between Brody Lee and Jon Moxley for the AEW title this Saturday. So you guys got to watch that. Then we move on to, I think we got MJF along with Wardlow against Jurassic Express member Marco Stunt. Now, this storyline was set about a week ago. As you know, it's already been set where MJF is going to face Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing. So he decided he wants to face Marco Stunt to send a clear message to Jungle Boy to prove him that he is still that he's better than him, and he knows it, because he's not going to allow him to be the guy to be. He wants to prove he is the face of AEW, and he will be champion no matter what. He just views Jungle Boy as a nobody, even though we all know his true backstory. But the match was like interesting because there were moments where MJF was taking the upper hand, he was making fun of him, but there were moments where Marco Stunt was like, he took it to the extreme. But much of the match, MJF took out Marco. He beat him fair and square, but he wanted to brutalize him. But here comes Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And I know this guy Ango and many other news outlets saying they should book a match between Wardlow and Luchasaurus. That's one huge match, and I agree. But we're gonna see Jungle Boy and MJF this coming Saturday, so we are ready. Who's ready for that? I know I am. Then we have the little coaches debate between Arn Anderson and Jake Snake Roberts. So as you know, Jake Roberts has been getting in the mind of Cody, calling him Caesar, that all this and that. He's not going to apologize for what he did to Brandy. He said that she had it coming. But Arn Anderson is not amused with his words, but he did warn them that Mike Tyson is entitled to be around the ring. And this could make chances for... But this is leading where Lance doesn't care about Mike Tyson. But if I were you, Lance, you should worry, because he'll knock him out. And this is like one of those epic matches that should have happened a long time ago. Arn Anderson versus Jake the Snake Roberts. So basically, Cody is ready for him, and I know that Lance Archer is already ready for Cody, this was a match that was already been set since Lance Archer made his debut. So let's get ready for that to come soon. And then we see Darby Allin, who we all know is going to be at the Casino ladder match, which is going to be interesting. So he made these little video vignettes where he has a couple of guys wearing pictures, faces of Scorpio Sky, who is going to be Frankie Kazarian, Orange Cassidy, trying to prove a point that he's going to be the one to win in the Casino Royale ladder match, which is going to be great. So in case you guys wondering what this match is, hold on a second. The Casino ladder match, what is this? Is there'll be 9 wrestlers every few minutes. They're 90 seconds. Another person will get, instead of a briefcase, they pulled out the poker chip. Whoever wins this one will eventually win the match. So basically, we'll win the match and get a future title shot. So we may never know who's going to win it. So it's either going to be Jon Moxley or Brody Lee. So that is the big question. So that's going to be interesting. And then we see a little message from Pac. Now, as you all know, since the whole thing of the pandemic started, Pac was still stuck in the UK. He sent a message to Orange Cassidy, a guy he faced back in Revolution. A guy that he can't stand. So he's waiting for Phoenix to take him out once and for all because he can't stand him. And that is like one of those stories that fits in perfectly. It was like, I don't think there's a leader, but there's always the spokesperson for the Death Triangle. But it's going to be cool. Hopefully we can see Pac again. We really need to see the Death Triangle back together for this. Then we jump into a match between Rey Fenix and Orange Cassidy. Now, as you all recall, a week ago, Rey Fenix took out Orange Cassidy. And this time, when Orange Cassidy was coming out, he saw that kick coming a mile away. He just moved out of the way, and he missed. So if you saw it, it'll be like, whoa, he's swinging, he missed. It was great. It was like, interesting match. I know people have talked about Orange Cassidy over time, like, this guy can't wrestle, that type of thing. Come on. He's an interesting person. Even Nico, he didn't like him, but he got into him. Jim Cornette still has his little issues with him, Come on. It was a great match. I'm not going to lie about that. So, it was great to see what Orange Cassidy did, including when he has his hands in his pocket. But the match ended where, I don't know if it was a running interference. Kip Sabian shows up with the ladder, and of course, this caused a little distraction. Phoenix gave Orange Cassidy the low blow, which was uncalled for. As soon as he won, Kip Sabian was still in the damn ladder. And here comes SCU shaking the ladder, trying to test it, but it said, you know what, let's just toss him. So it became like a little Pele of every wrestler who's all the 9 participants. Orange Cassidy's in it, Phoenix is in it, Kip Sabian's in it, Kaz and Scorpio are in it, Colt Cabana is in it, and basically we've been seeing many of these guys coming out. I'm going to pause here. Now, if you guys heard of what happened after where they're jumping off the ring, Rey Fenix has suffered a nasty fall from that, where he jumped out of the ring from the ring ropes, and no one catched him, and he landed hard on his back, and it was really... So basically, it's been confirmed that he will be out from that match. It's still unclear who is the replacement, but we may never know if Phoenix will continue to wrestle like this. I don't know if he's dumb enough or brave enough to do it. But we'll see how it goes. Because the thing is, when you have an injury like this is bad. Because I heard that Phoenix wasn't the only one that got injured that night. So this is going to be one epic match. So the next match we have is a women's tag team match. We had Chris Statlander teaming with Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker and Nyla Rose. Now, if you also must remember, Hikaru Shida is the #1 contender to face Nyla Rose for the AEW World Women's Championship at Double or Nothing. As for Chris Statlander, she still has her issues with Britt Baker for what she did to her in that Fatal 4-Way a week ago, where she put her in the. But it's been confirmed now that those two will face off at Double or Nothing. This match was amazing. There were moments, great teamwork between both Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. I know they've been faced off before on certain occasions, but this was a great match. I enjoyed this women's tag team match. I know that there was talk a long time ago they have considered maybe one day doing this, but they gotta work little by little to get there. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing women's. Haven't seen AEW do a women's tag team match because we've seen how WWE did not legitimize it enough, which what happened, but that's another conversation for another time. But it was brutal, the match. But frankly, Britt Baker somehow maybe got injured, and Nyla Rose continued on with the match by herself, which has proven how dominant she can be. And she won the match by powerbombing Hikaru Shida, but she wasn't just done when she beat her. She was trying to take her out by jumping on her through a table. The same similar matter that Nyla Rose did to Rio before she won her title. If you recall, Rio was still the women's champion at the time. And a week before their match, she just slammed her through the table, her on top of her. And luckily, Chris Statlander was there to stop her from doing that, and frankly, putting Nyla Rose to the table. So hopefully the situation changes, or maybe that'll be enough to trying to obtain the native beast down, knowing that Hikaru Shida could have. Now, we all can say Hikaru Shida was one of the best women's wrestlers we've seen. I mean, when I first saw her, we all saw the same thing. Like, she's talented, she's great, she's a great striker. I mean, I've always been a fan of Hikaru Shida. I even have friends. Nico's a fan too. So I would love to see her win the title, and that's gonna happen. Hopefully, this happens this Saturday. So we just gotta watch and see what's gonna be. Now, we go to an interview with Jon Moxley. So Moxley, he still demands his property back, regardless, but he is not a happy camper. As you all know, that's like stealing, but Brody doesn't see it that way. He still has that mind that title is his no matter what. But we'll just gotta wait and see where they're gonna go. Then we have this thing called the Shawn Spears news. Now, as you all know, Shawn Spears still has his issues towards Cody. He's calling Cody a self-arrogant prick for allowing Dustin Rhodes to get brutalized by Lance Archer. Now, if you all recall what happened, Lance Archer took out Dustin Rhodes badly. And Dustin goes out saying that Dustin Rhodes retired. Now, there is no official confirmation if it was true or not. But he did state out, he's not doing Double or Nothing, so he issued a challenge to Dustin Rhodes. Now, I don't know, I think this is like one of those moments like, he's done, it's over, Cody's an idiot, he got him done, and then what happens to him? He shows up, try to teach him a lesson, don't mess with my family. Of course, Shawn Spears is going to say, but he's the one who didn't do anything, and he'd say, I told him not to. Basically, Shawn doesn't have a brother who he listens to, so basically that's what's going to go. In the next match, the final match, which was the main event that took place, it was Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. Now, if you all recall what happened, Sammy Guevara got whacked with a golf cart by Matt Hardy driving in a golf cart. And of course, he's saying that he's a criminal, he's a bad guy, he needs to be put away. The inner circle, he thinks that the inner circles are the true good guys. Oh, come on. They're like reverse psychology on that. But it was great. But this match was brutal. Now, if you all recall, he was wearing a neck brace a week ago, and it didn't work. And not to mention, Sammy helped out to destroy Vanguard 1, which Matt Hardy will be seeking retribution over that. There were some great spots where Matt Hardy was about to do the Twist of Fate, and he somehow countered it. And I think it took about 3 Twist of Fate to take out Sammy Guevara. And then there was a moment he took off his shoes, started biting him, and tried to weaken his foot, but it wasn't enough. But it did. But when he did the 3rd Twist of Fate, it finally put Sammy Guevara away. Now, as soon as he won, here comes Chris Jericho on a Titantron. He was on the far side of Daly's place of the stadium next door, telling him that he's going to whack Kenny to ensure that Matt Hardy will go to Double or Nothing by himself. Now, while they were doing that, all of a sudden, here comes Matt and Nick Jackson returning after not been appearing for the past couple weeks. So they fight back and they took matters in their own hands. They even grabbed some chairs. I know they've been whacking. And then all of a sudden, here comes Matt, try to even the odds. But still, the numbers are still too much, even though that's what happened. Out of nowhere, here comes someone running fast. And it was Hangman Page. He was running so fast, well, in the cowboy boots. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He ran good in cowboy boots. And it showed the Elite are still standing. But here's the thing. Hangman just left. Again. I think he felt like, okay, my job's over. Or so, okay, now it's happy hour time. Whatever. It was so great how they were, the commentators, Ross, Shivani, and Excalibur were saying, okay, happy hour's on. But did prove that now that the Elite are still stand. But the problem is, are they going to be 100% coming to Double or Nothing? So we just got to wait and see what's going to happen this coming Saturday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part. So let's get ready to talk about NXT right now. So right now we're in NXT. As you know, recently WWE has suffered a loss with a former WWE superstar, Shad Gaspard. So it started out with in memory of Shad Gaspard. I know WWE are hurt knowing what he did, but a lot of wrestlers within WWE and the outside of WWE have paid their condolences, calling Shad a hero and all this. So it was a great way to pay tribute to Shad for everything. So let's move on with the first match. So this first match was as we call it, a squash match. It was Karrion Kross with Scarlett versus Liam. Who is it? Hold on. Liam Gray. So this one was a squash match. So it was a simple match, like we always do. See where there's a dominant guy. As soon as Karrion Kross walks in, here comes Tommaso Ciampa, introducing himself to Karrion. Now, he hasn't forgotten what he did to him the week after the final beatdown with Gargano. And once he walked up to the ring, Scarlett just sits down on the ring rope to lower down for him, try to be a gentle host. I think for Ciampa, he's like saying, I don't know if I can trust you, but Scarlett has no intention to hurt him. But I think she was interested in what Ciampa has to say. But he did issue the challenge to Kross this upcoming event, Takeover, in your house. And it's going to be Ciampa versus Kross, which is, I have to say, this is going to be one of those matches we got to pay attention at in your house. I know you guys should pay attention to. I know I will pay attention to. So, I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited. So, let's move forward on this one. Then we had Group B for the Interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship. This is Phantasma versus Akira Tozawa. Now, as you know, Hikaru Tozawa is 2-0, but we had Phantasma 1-1. So basically, it's an interesting match. It was great how two wrestlers from two different countries, from different backgrounds, Lucha Libre style versus Puroresu, whatever they call it. Let's just call it Japanese wrestling. Let's just say it that way. But it was a great match between them. I enjoyed every bit. Striking, kicks. I'm just blown away. But of course, as always, there's always a winner. So, Hijo de Fantasma win. And I think with that match, he kind of earned the respect from Tozawa, because we know Tozawa, what he's capable of. And not to forget, he is a former NXT, a former Cruiserweight champion. So, but this is like one of those times, okay, he knows that he won this match, but he respects Tozawa, what he has contributed. And he was a great fighter. So it was a great match. Now, the next thing we see is Timothy Thatcher. As you recall what happened a week ago, Timothy Thatcher walked off from Riddle during the match against Imperium, and he said he's willing to face him in a match that involves both knockout or submission, more like MMA style. So he asked Riddle name the time and place it's going to take place. So he will. So we'll get to that. because I'm going through order how it happened through the entire show. Then we have a little video package from Shotzi Blackheart trying to introduce herself, who she is. Man, she's one wild woman. You know, her with tanks, saying she's a rocker, all this, a balls to the wall badass, that type of thing, and she can't stand Candice, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and of course, um, Candice LeRae. So she gave them the warning, they better stay out of her way. Then we had the match between Mia Yim and Santana Garrett. It was a good match. I'm kind of expecting more was going to happen with Santana Garrett. But it was a great match. Mia Yim took the victory. Now, post-match, here comes Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. Now, Candice LeRae's issues towards Mia Yim was the fact that she's the lowest level in the NXT. And she's criticizing her, saying, why do you get a title shot? Well, I don't. You know, but criticizing her, not only that, but telling her, you dropped the ball. You know? So she's still criticizing her for everything. Try to teach her a lesson, saying that NXT is going to be reborn on the image of Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. While they were doing that, Johnny Gargano got involved, trying to make Candice LeRae still strong, but out of nowhere, here comes Keith Lee. As you must know, Keith Lee and Mia Yim are a real-life couple. So this is going to be one of those power couple matches type. So that's what happened, but they ran like cowards that they always are. Now we go to Cameron Grimes. Now, as you all recall last week, Cameron Grimes beat Finn Balor, but not in a way we all remember. As we all recall, Finn Balor was still issuing the snake that attacked him from behind a couple weeks ago. And Cameron Grimes, after his match against Denzel, said some unremarkable words about Finn Balor, about how he's going to bitch slap him and all this other stuff. Finn Balor didn't take that too lightly. So he set him up they booked him in the match, but out of nowhere, it was revealed that Damian Priest got involved and whacked him with the nightstick on the knee. And Cameron Grimes picked up the victory, but it was by assistance. So he thinks he beat him. I have a feeling Finn Balor's not going to forget that match, because he's not going to appreciate him gloating about beating him. He didn't beat him fair and square. Because the thing is, Cameron Grimes, if you guys notice, he's the kind of guy who likes to make a name for himself by taking out the big-time wrestlers with the bigger name. He did that with Kushida. He did that with Keith Lee, and he failed. Finn Balor, he's going to get his retribution. I can guarantee you that. That's going to happen down the line. Then we jump in with Dave Maverick. Now, as you all recall, they're still saying the whole thing with Drake Maverick is still a work, knowing that that he was fired, but it was part of the story. I mean, it could be. I'm not going to say it's not. So, he knows that he doesn't need to worry about the people cheering. The only thing that's on his mind is try to win the match. That's all that matters. So, he knows it. So, let's jump into the next match. We had Roderick Strong versus Dexter Lumis. Now, this match was already been set a week ago when Undisputed Era were still trying to question who is Dexter Lumis, why was he involved in the business of the Undisputed Era. If you recall, Keith Lee was in a match with Velveteen Dream, but he was taken out by Damian Priest. And then Dexter Lumis showed up 2 weeks ago, helping Velveteen Dream to ensure he gets the title. So they thought by taking him out. So it was a brutal, crazy match, but also mixed with psychology. If you look at Dexter Lumis, every shot he takes from Roderick Strong, it makes him stronger. He keeps telling him, stop looking at me. He gave him that look, that psychotic look. And that is what it was enjoyable to see. So Roderick Strong was not happy with that result. But of course, somehow he was able to beat him. And because he beat him, Dexter Lumis put him in that one submission move. I can't pronounce what it's called. But as soon as he put him in that move, here comes Fish and Cole try to take him out, try to have him release him. he didn't flinch. So when Fish had Loomis right in the head, he was about to do that final strike that Cole does. Here comes Velveteen Dream to give him the helping hand. He takes out Fish and Cole, but one thing I liked about it, Dream jumped off the turnbuckle outside the ring to give him the elbow to give him a. So as soon as that happened, Strong passed out. Dexter Loomis was like petting him like that. It was like so insane. I'm like, oh my god, that is so crazy. So we don't know what story this is gonna go, but I'm liking it. I'm liking this whole concept between Dream and Loomis. Now I don't know what they're gonna go with it, but I think this is gonna be an interesting team between Loomis and Dream. So we gotta pay attention to that. Then we see during the commercial break. Now, as you all recall, for a couple of weeks now, let me take off my hat. These masked men showed up out of nowhere, taking some men. We already seen them taking Raul Mendoza, then Joaquin Wild. Then they tried to take Hijo de Fantasma. Now, Hijo Fantasma won the match, but he told Akira Tozawa what a great wrestler he is to face him. He was honored to wrestle a guy like him. And then when he was about to leave, here comes the masked man, try to beat him. I think it's still unclear who these men are, why are they're doing this, what is their interest in Phantasma. But at the same time, why take out Tozawa? Doesn't make no sense. So I think there's still more questions than answers for what's going on. So we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. Then we jump into a tag team match between Oni Lorca and Danny Burch versus Everrise. This was a great. Now, I have been a fan of Lorcan and Burch for a while now. I love their chemistry, the way how they act. They act like those tag teams that you know you want to love, that you want to cheer. And it was great match. I loved it. But of course, they won the match. It felt like a squash match a bit for me. But Lorcan and Burch made it clear that they want a shot of the tag team title, the NXT tag team titles that are currently held by Eichner and Bartner from Imperium. So they gave them that pose, knowing that they want them. So we still don't know what Imperium will say. We do know Imperium are trying to prove their dominance, that they are the most dominant force on the planet. So we just gotta wait what Imperium has to say. Then we go to Keith Lee, who has an interview. So he gave his little statement about the one thing he doesn't get is why Gargano is here. Why is he going out running his mouth about all this and that? So he wants to shut him up. So we still wait and see what's going to happen. Hopefully down the line we see Gargano versus Keith Lee. Now I doubt this is for the North American title, but he just wants to, he wants the NXT title back. Then we go to the response from Matt Riddle. Now, as you all recall, Thatcher gave the stipulation, a match between the two of them, between both in a submission or knockout type of match. So Riddle accepted, but he asked what's going to take place inside a cage. So basically, this is going to be an MMA style type of match. So I can't wait to see it. It's going to be brutal. I don't know how much brutal you can get, but I'm excited. Then we jump into the Group A of the NXT Cruiserweight tournament between Kushida and Drake Maverick. Now, as you know, in this part, Kushida was undefeated, 2-0. Drake Maverick 1-1. So this was one of those crazy, amazing stories about Drake Maverick, where he knows he has everything to lose. And he's like, I'm not done yet, I still need to go. And moments during the match, I can see Kushida try to take Maverick out with the arm, or try to break his arm off, but Maverick, with all the encouragement, he is trying to go through. And out of nowhere, here comes Jake Atlas, a man that beat Maverick in the first round. Jake Atlas has always been a supporter of Drake Maverick, even though Maverick doesn't need his support. But I think maybe Drake appreciated him because he knows how much this has mean to them. And there was a great moment right in near the end where Drake Maverick was about to do a Hurricanrana on or some kind of move, and Kushida was trying to put that submission on him, the hoverboard thing, but instead, somehow, this is what Maverick did. He just grabbed his hands like this, and he made him put his shoulder down to make the pin, and that's how he won. It was like the biggest upset ever. But however, Jake Atlas was happy with Drake for winning, and Drake was happy because she was like still in disbelief. But because of this, there was another issue they need to address. A situation. It turns out that Atlas, Maverick, and Kushida, all three of these men have the exact same amount record. Now keep in mind, Tony Nese is out. He is already done for. 0-3. But these guys all have 2-1. So William Regal made the ultimate decision. He's gonna put Atlas versus Maverick versus Kushida in a triple threat match. Winner take all. Whoever wins will face Hijo de Fantasma in the finals for the interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship. So Atlas is down with it. I think Maverick, he's like a bit of concern, but he knows what has to be done. So basically, this is more who wants it more type. So we just gotta wait. So that match is gonna take place next week. I'm excited. I hope you guys too. Now, as you all recall, what happened to Finn Balor? Finn Balor was attacked by some unknown assailant weeks ago, and Balor demanded to find out who the snake was that attacked him, and then it was revealed to be none other than the Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest. Now, Priest has always been known as the guy who wants to leave a mark into the NXT, and Finn Balor is no exception. Now, who can forget Finn Balor's accomplishment? He was the one who carried the flag of NXT before going to the main roster. And now he wants to do the same thing. He wants to make a name for himself in a similar manner, believing that that if he beats Finn Balor, he is going to be the guy leading the charge. And the only way he's going to do that is on Takeover. So I'm excited for that. So I hope you guys are excited for that. Now let's go to the main event. This one was between Io Shirai and the Nightmare Rhea Ripley. Now, as you all recall, a couple weeks ago, Charlotte Flair was in a match against Io Shirai, and she disqualified herself by using a kendo stick on Io Shirai. And out of nowhere, here comes Charlotte Flair was trying to take out Io Shirai with the same kind of matter she did with Rhea Ripley on WrestleMania by injuring her knee. And Rhea Ripley saved her, but Io Shirai did not appreciate her showing up. So this was like one of those matches where Io Shirai is like, "What the hell are you doing back here? Why did you get involved? This is my time." But Rhea Ripley still has unfinished business with Charlotte Flair. But this match was like, okay, so let's see what happens. So it was not like a number one contender. It's more like Io Shirai just wants her to shut up and get out of my business. You had your chance. Now it's my turn. So that type of thing. But out of nowhere, out of this match, here comes Charlotte Flair trying to get involved. And the match ended in a no contest thanks to Charlotte Flair. So she took out both Shirai and Ripley, making her known that she is still the queen and that she is willing to dominate the NXT Women's Division. So that's how it ended with her. But don't forget, June 7th, NXT TakeOver in your house is going to take place. It will be on the WWE Network. No pay-per-view. WWE Network. Or if you guys know some links that you guys want to see it, I know a link. But if you want me to, send it to you guys, leave a message, leave a comment down below, and I'll see if I can, link it up to you guys somehow. So I think that's about it. What happened? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Wednesday Night War. Don't forget, this Saturday, Double or Nothing, June 7th, the NXT TakeOver in your house. So I must bid all of you adieu. So stay safe, wash your hands, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!